okay. Okay. We're casual as hell, right?
Yeah, okay. Beyond that.
Very good.
All right. All right.
Hey all, this is Chris Whalen inviting you to come out and see why Texas Nightlife is Wichita Falls' longest running locally owned night spot. We just started hosting Lee Meets Garage on Thursday nights. It's Texoma's only locally produced podcast, hosted by Lee Weaver. On Fridays, we've got a weekly pool tournament, a military ID gets you in free, and yours truly, DJ Chris. And don't miss Race Rutledge and the Texas Knights playing all your favorites every Saturday night. Texas Nightlife is the only place you can bring your own bottle, ride a bull, and boots and boogie. Texas Nightlife's longest running locally owned night spot. We just started hosting Lee. Hey all, this is Chris Whalen inviting you to come out and see why Texas Nightlife is Wichita Falls' longest running locally owned night spot. We just
messing me up.
started hosting Lee Meets Garage on Thursday nights. It's Texoma's only locally produced podcast, hosted by Lee Weaver. On Fridays, we've got a weekly pool tournament, a military ID gets you in free, and yours truly, DJ Chris. And don't miss Race Rutledge and the Texas Knights playing all your favorites every Saturday night. Texas Nightlife is the only place you can bring your own bottle, ride a bull, and boot, scoot, and boogie. Texas Nightlife, across from Walmart on Archer City Highway. Hey all, this is Chris Whalen inviting you to come out and see why Texas Nightlife is Wichita Falls' longest running.
Make it stop! Make it stop!
Plug in the shit out of it.
We're already here! We bought your fire water already. Stop selling it to us. You know, if you want to get the real effect on harmonica, fill it full of pizza grease. That way you can really bend those notes in a slip-slidery way. Every song sounds like Oh Susanna. Hey everybody, how was Richie Bates? Pretty amazing. The songs are too
wordy.
Yeah. It didn't work for Bob Dylan, why should it work for you? I want to thank you guys for coming out to our intimate gathering. We will be passing the collection plate very soon. I say that because just like church, the front rows are empty. You know, that reminds me of something.
Oh no.
Everybody say hi to Chris Whalen, our off the flippin' leash DJ, who I believe ran here, which I would not have done. If it involved anything besides some sort of automotive transportation, this show would just have to go on without me. But Chris rose to the challenge. Before we get to our interviews, I do want to re-emphasize our I will shush your ass policy. Absolute fact. Who else been shushed? My wife. Pam, I shushed you once, yes. Yeah. I like it when the crew gets shushed. You're not really getting the big picture, are you, cameraman? James was our worst crew offender. He stood right here on the edge of the stage like he was talking over a jet engine to someone. I'll just wait till you're done, James, because I'm going to have to. We're going to get our interviews going here pretty quickly. I did, however, this isn't the funniest story. In fact, I'm not sure if there's any funny parts at all, but I did want to share some thoughts I've had lately regarding the work we do, the work that we choose to do. And I think it's appropriate to share this story with some of the most adventurous, creative people I know who have made choices that were not entirely conventional to do the things that they're doing now, and not doing things that maybe sane people would do. Starting with race. Race has not followed anything that I know to be a conventional career arc. I haven't. Kevin's early on in his career, but I know that he's taken chances. All my arty-farty friends, I mean, you guys, you won't be writing any how-to handbooks, that they're going to be using in master's programs. And here's the way to build a conventional career. First, start a crazy rock band. And I was thinking about that because I've tried it conventionally and I've tried it unconventionally, and as time has gone by, it becomes less and less conventional. But I hit a crossroads at the end of last year where it just became obvious to me that my career was going to be have to be something that I did entirely on my own. By hook or by crook, by bad luck or good luck or bad judgment or other people being assholes, it all added up to I really was just going to have to do my own thing. And I was wondering, how that came to be, and I started thinking about things that had happened to me earlier in my life, that in my employment life. And I thought of a story that I don't know if it'll make sense exactly in the context that I've set up, but it certainly, I think, spoke to setting up my expectation for what work should be about. And I think work should be about being accountable, being productive, and being responsible, and being a member of a team. And I think if your expectations of all those elements are really high, I think you set yourself up for disappointment right away. And because it doesn't work that way. You have whatever it has to be in a person to fit nicely into a large structure I don't have. And I think in a lot of ways it's me being an asshole and not always being patient, or there are elements I bring to it. But I also think that the institution brings to it a lack of accountability and a lack of responsibility. And it's easy to hide, it's easy to be lazy in an institution. And the longer I've lived, the longer I've worked, the more I believe that to be true. Well, I was lucky enough that my very first job that didn't involve starting a lawnmower was when I was 16, and I worked in the bus station in Duncan, Oklahoma. And I was deeply ashamed to have this job. My dad was a lawyer, we were members of the country club, and all my friends had cool jobs at their dad's offices, or they were lifeguards at the pool, and they had all these jobs that you could be proud to have if you were 16. And I got matched up through my parents with this guy who ran the bus station, which was just a fucking dump. I mean, it was just a big greasy, cigarette-stained, urine-stained, it was every bus station you could imagine. And it was now my job to go work there as a junior in high school. And I was mortified. But my dad said, no, you're going to go to work there because I know this guy, he needs somebody, and you're going to do it. And so this guy trained me up, spent a couple of months at the end of my junior school year to get me up to speed. And then by the first of summer, he had me trained to where I would walk in and he'd walk out. And I ran this bus station by myself. Do you already see the differentiation from, most places? He had trained me up not like it wasn't like a tag, you're it, I don't care what happens. He had actually trained me to write tickets and ship freight and deal with customers on the phone and sell things. And he trusted me to, at age 16, I'd walk in, he'd walk out, and I'd lock the place up. Every Friday, I paid myself out of the till. And it was trust, it was accountability. And I did this job for all my senior year, and never, of course, didn't realize, not having a frame of reference, that I was really sitting in unfortunately, the greatest job I've ever had. And, okay, we got one laugh out of the story. Whew. Well, the summer after I graduated, working there, and I worked 6 days a week. 5 days a week I worked in the evening. Monday through Friday I worked in the evening. And in my little town of Duncan, in the evening, the first bus went south to Wichita Falls, and the second bus went north to Oklahoma City. Well, in the morning that was reversed. So one day out of the week the first bus went north, and the second bus went south. Are you still with me? Do I need to make a flashcard? So I was working a Saturday morning. There's a chance that that Saturday morning came right after a Friday night. So I was probably not as sharply focused as I should have been. And so I'm working and maybe a little short of sleep, whatever. And this is back in the oil field was booming. And this wasn't unusual to see what had happened that day. This guy walked in. He was a Mexican guy. He spoke very little English. I spoke very little Spanish. But he wanted to buy a ticket to go up to Chickasha, which is halfway between Duncan and Oklahoma City. And he was going to meet up with a crew that was going to take him out to the field, and he was probably going to make enough money in 6 months to feed his family for a year. He had his toolbox. So he was sitting there, and his bus pulled up, and he kind of pointed to the bus, and I was like, because I had the schedule flipped in my head, I thought the bus going north was the second bus. And he kind of made it like, are you sure kind of face? And I was like, gotcha. I worked the bus, swapped out the freight, people on the bus, sent it on its way, and as soon as it went around the corner, I just went, I mean, just all the blood ran out of my face. And I went to him and I said, that was your bus. And the look he gave me, it wasn't the look you're thinking, it wasn't just complete disaster, it wasn't anger. I didn't realize at the time, I had to be older to then remember back that face and know what it really meant. This was a guy who had just taken another shot in the stomach. He was, you know, he didn't fly out the handle. This is a guy who apparently had a really shitty life, and it was just one more shitty thing that had just happened to him. And he just kind of, I could see the wheels turning like, now what do I do? What am I going to do? And fortunately, in the morning, the two buses came together in very close proximity, like 20 minutes apart, whereas in the evening, they're an hour and a half apart. And fortunately, the next bus was early. And I told him, un momento, and I worked that bus as fast as I could, and I threw him in my car, my mom's 1970 Ford Club wagon. It was back, that was one of those vans, where they were called vans, and they just looked like prison transport vehicles. And we had one of those. And I put him in my car, and he was just like, well, hell, I guess this is a good thing. If he's abducting me, how much worse is my life? Some 140-pound teenager is abducting me to I don't know where. So we start hauling ass up Highway 81 like as fast as like 100 miles an hour. Like I've never seen this car go 100 miles an hour. And we race into the Chickasha downtown, such as it is, and he literally jumped out and jumped in the back of a moving pickup that was leaving. And he just kind of gave me a quick wave, and he sat down, and you could just see the whole, everything just melt on him. Like he was just like, I'm going to make it. Of course, back then I had no sense at all of what all that meant. So I get back to work. Of course, I had just locked up the bus station. I didn't tell anyone. Just locked it up and hid this problem. And small town, and the fact that there was a cafe adjacent, the secret did not stay kept for very long. And my boss found out about it, and I came to work Monday, and he said, what happened Saturday? And I told him, and he said, you really should have called me. He said, but not for the reason that you think. He goes, if you're an employee and you have a problem, and you don't call your boss, you now have two problems. If you had called me, we would have had two people trying to solve one problem. And I thought that was one of the most clear-cut employer-employee messages that I've ever heard anyone give. In fact, I've never heard anyone repeat that. There's always been, you know, the threat of some sort of punishment levied upon the person who makes a mistake. And again, it might have set my expectations incorrectly, because maybe that's how it always otherwise is. But I was set on a course at age 16 that the workplace is where you did your thing, and if you messed up, you were accountable, but if you messed up, everyone worked together to fix the thing. And if you make a habit of messing up, well, maybe that's another matter. But it really set me on a course of thinking that the workplace should be a fair and just and productive place. And I think that was a story that shaped me a lot toward the way I approach work today. So I just wanted to share that story. It's been rattling around my head. So there you have it. And well, I don't know if I'm not sure if that's an applause-worthy story, but it was. I certainly, you know, I feel like it was something that had an imprint on me.